Good morning, Puckheads. It's your buddy Choppadong coming at you with another video. We're going to do a process type video today, being that our VIPs, our one and only Jim Keenan, the sheet master, is stuck at work and has notified me that there won't be sheets today. It's his first day off in probably, gosh, since we released them. So at least the guy can get a day of peace. I never want anyone working 7 days a week inside DFS Army, because to be quite honest with you, that's just not fair to anybody. But you know, it is what it is. So we got a 3-game slate today. That's a perfect day to get stuck at work for the rest of us, because we have a lot of guys that have grown a lot over the last 7 to 10 days that have plugged in with us and are probably ready for the next step anyway. So let's do it. Let's take it. Let's move on, and let's show you the process that I go through, and then of course you can add and remove parts to your own process if you see fit, because this is really what we're all about. We'll go into Slack, we'll discuss it VIP style, bust up this slate, and let's go win another one, because we're on quite the roll, to be honest with you. Here the past week or so, we've had a lot of guys that are doubling up very, very easily, very, very comfortably, and guys that are entering GPPs that are getting a little bit deeper in the money. Now, some are getting close, and some are all the way there. It just depends on, you know, the way the slate breaks for you, and being that hockey's a volatile sport, it is what it is. I am Choppadong. You can follow me out on Twitter at that handle, at Choppadong. You can follow me inside the DFS Army under the same name, where I'm a coach and contributor and do so on a daily basis. So I'm the glutton for punishment. I'm the guy that rarely takes days off. But anyway, let's jump in and do some process coaching. The first place that we start is the Las Vegas odds. I get mine off of VegasInsider.com. I go hover over the NHL odds, and I want to see what's released, because I like tracking the opens and I like tracking the consensus. I like seeing where that line moves throughout the day. And we're not going to see a lot of movement, you know, early in the morning on Wednesday. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, by the way, and good, God forbid we have any women followers. Man, do you guys deserve a heck of a treat today if you guys are puckheads and you have a significant other that just doesn't understand. Columbus and Toronto's offline. Montreal at Colorado is a 120. You can see it's already drifted a little bit stronger in favor of Colorado. That might be because Montreal's been doing some traveling. The under is in play here. This U15 tells me the under is favored. Not that strongly. It's only like a -115. We don't get excited about a -115 when it comes to the Vegas favorite, so I'm not going to get all that excited about a -115 when it comes to the under, but I will take note of it and I will watch it throughout the day. Sometimes sharp betting comes in throughout the afternoon, or especially closer to lock, pushes the line one way or the other, and I want to take note of that. I want to be used to looking for where Vegas may make its errors and what sharp bettors are catching that, because when they catch it, it can indicate to me that I should be catching it too, and I can make the necessary shifts and pivots. We follow it in baseball, we follow it in football, we follow it in hockey, we follow it in basketball. Vegas lines give us a good start from where to start looking, and then from there we watch the line drift one way or another, and we can make some reasonable conclusions as to how the public feels Vegas either hit it or missed it. So that's what we pay attention to. The 120 to a -135 makes me a little bit more intrigued by Colorado tonight. It looks to be a low-scoring game, though. Florida, Vancouver, typically a low-scoring game. This one's a pick-em, -110 for both, and the 110 is also on the under. This is a crap game most times. All the games in Vancouver rarely go high-scoring, rarely blow up. Vancouver slows the pace down, plays a mucking and grinding game, and hopes to eke you out 2-1. Not good for fantasy, but on a 3-game slate, we're going to have to try and knock down the goal. And here's the thing. On what looks to be a lower scoring slate, we may only get one, you know, pretty good game here at either a 5.5 over or a 6. We may only get the one good game. Being that we're looking at maybe a lower scoring slate coming out of Vegas, we need to be prepared to go after shots and block shots as our floor, and we're just going to have to get the production. We're going to have to be on the guys that score the goals. And the goals, honestly, are fluky. You don't know if you're coming off the third line or the top line or what. You have to just kind of roll with it and hope that you hit it. And this is the perfect night to play a GPP, because whereas on other 3-game slates this week, we had more predictable scoring. Tonight we kind of don't, and if nobody else is scoring, if the whole league scores, you can compete. If nobody in the league scores, you gotta be on the 1 or 2 that did it. So this is the type of night that GPPs are going to make, or that one guy getting that one game, or God forbid the guy scores 2 goals in a game. That's the guy that's going to push it over the edge. And if you don't have him, you're not even probably going to cash in 50-50s. So tonight's kind of night where I would play very light cash games, 50-50s, small 3-man league type stuff. And I would be focused a little bit more on the bigger leagues, the 20-mans, the 100-mans, the GPPs, things like that. Because if I hit it right, daddy gots to get paid. And this is the kind of night where that's going to happen, because that one play is not only going to push you past the 50-50 line, it's going to push you into tournament contention pretty fast. So if it all works out according to plan, and that's the way it looks, it's the way it's shaping up right now based on Vegas. If we move on to starting lineups, what I'm going to be targeting, let's say I'm going to be targeting this game fairly heavily, and then a little bit maybe here, and maybe a little bit here. I need to be finding the production, and there's 2 ways that I can do this. Number one, I can go clicking by the names. I can click on Austin Matthews' name. I can pull up his last few games here, see if he's been steady Eddie, which, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over 15 points, 4 over 20 in the last 2, 4, 6, 8 games. So that's not bad, okay? But the thing that I'm really looking for is his game log. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 games most times. And I'm going to add up his goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals. 3, 4, 5, 6 assists. So he's 6 and 6. 6 goals, 6 assists. And I want to find his shots on goal and his blocked shots. And this is the one thing I can't stand about roto grinders. They don't track his blocked shots. So I go 2, 5, and 8 is 13, 14, 15, 18, 21, 22, 24 shots. 6 and 6 on 24 shots. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to either start tracking centers and wings and defensemen, or I'm going to track where the production comes off of a team. Either way is fine, but on a night like tonight when we can't just go run off to a cheat sheet, write it down. Get a pen and get a paper and do the work. That's what it's about. I can also run into the game log here, and I can find Mr. Austin Matthews, and here's where I can get his blocked shots. So let's say I go again, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 games down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 assists, all the way down to here. And now I'm at 3, 4, and 6 is 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 6 is 25, and 5 is 30, 33, and 3 more is 36. So the blocked shots make a difference to his floor. He's 6, 6, and 36. 6, 6, and 36 for 8,300. 8.3. I just wrote it down. And that's Austin Matthews, Toronto 1, power play 1. That might be where I start tonight, because that's a very, very solid floor. Anything shots and blocks over, say, 30 is pretty good. Guy, add in some goals and assists and some production with it, and you're golden. Who would I pair him with? Nylander, Kadri, Marlowe, Marner. I might do Marner, but the one in the power play doesn't overlap. That sort of sucks. Van Riemsdyk, Bozak, Connor Brown. Don't really like any of that. Might run down in here to Gardner. So if I check on Gardner, easiest way to do this, start typing his name in there, pull him to the top, punch him in, game log his ass, and we're off and running. The 10th game's down here. I've got just 1 goal in the last 10 games, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10 assists. I'm starting to get some assists getting ready to drop off. His production's come back down to earth. But for now, 1 goal, 10 assists on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and 4 is 11, 13, 17, 22, 24, 27, 30. There's my 30. 1, 10, and 30. Write it down. 1, 10, 30 for Gardner. 5,100. Pretty damn cheap. So right now I've locked up in 2 players 7 goals, 16 assists, and 66 shots on goal and blocks. Now here's what I'm going to show you. When you get a team assembled that you like, you're going to run down here, and I'm going to type in the 7 goals over 10 games. So what I need to do to get an average, divide that by 10, and I've got 0.7. How many points are goals worth? 12. 8.4 expected points out of those 2 on goals. See how I did that? And then 16 assists, 6 and 10. 16 assists is 1.6 times 8 points for an assist. 12.8 points for an assist. 66 shots and blocks at 1.6 points apiece. Divide it by 10, 6.6 times 1.6. 10.6 points, rounded up. So basically on these two players, I now have 8.4 plus 10.6 plus 12.8. So what I'm doing is I'm calculating their average production, 32 points for these two. 32.8, 31.8. 31.8 for 13,004 in salary, that's 3x. I like it. If I get 3x, I'm headed for 150 points on FanDuel tonight. I'm cashing everywhere. Okay? I'm trying to build the highest floor I can. What I want to look for is those shots and blocks. Those are my floor. And then I want to see guys that are also producing. The research station inside DFSArmy.com is a beautiful thing for our VIPs. It shows it all at a glance. I'm showing you how to do this the hard way, the old-fashioned way today because, like I said, we're not going to have that sheet. But now I'm going to I don't know if this would be all that I want out of this game or if I would want more. I'm not 100% sure. So let's dive into the starting goalies, and we'll take a look at where we're going to look back-to-back for Columbus. That puts Toronto in an even better position. Front end of a back-to-back for Montreal. Doesn't mean much yet, other than they're on the road headed into the altitude in Colorado. Front end of a back-to-back for the Canucks. Not a big deal yet. They're at home. So where am I going? I'm looking for the heavier Vegas odds. We don't see them yet. I may just crapshoot it today. Take a gamble. If I was to lean right now, honestly, I'm leaning on Frederik Andersen. I would be my cash goalie. They give up a lot of shots. He's been stopping some. They probably will be favored to get the win tonight. So that probably takes some Blue Jackets out of play. It's not the worst thing in the world to negatively correlate on a 3-game slate, but it's not the best thing either. It caps your upside in a big way. If this game goes high and gets torched, and Anderson and Bobrovsky give up 4 goals each, you can bet your bottom dollar Austin Matthews on one side's factoring in, and Cam Atkinson on the other side's probably factoring in. So even if I have one goalie or the other, it's not a bad thing to take those players, but you want to limit the damage and keep them down to like a one-off or something, and make sure that they're very underpriced and they're going to be chalky on the slate. If I go into the tools and stats, the skaters, and go into the line production, this is the other thing that we're going to do. Today, let's focus on the hotter guys. We'll go 3 games. See if any of these teams have been producing over the last 3 games. Let's see. There's Montreal. Lehkonen, Plekanec line. That's your. Well, there's Lehkonen. Plekanec. And who was your third guy? Wasn't Druin, was it? Gallagher. So this is the 2 with Lehkonen. He either may have been moved up to the top line. I didn't follow that news. So this may be your combo that you can run because they've scored 4 goals in 3 games. Or 3 goals in 3 games. They're running pretty hot. Another thing that I can do, this is stuff you're just going to have to play with today. So I can run over here to line combos. I can run to Montreal. And I can see here that at even strength, that's what I'm looking for. I can check the power play units too, but instead of the game day, let's see if those guys have been playing much together over their last 3 games and submit it. There they are. Theoretically, the top line. 25% of the time they're on the ice together. That's your line stack. Not this. See what I'm saying? This one's actually tracking who's playing with who over 3 games. This one's just guessing at what's standard and what's put on paper. So, if that's what's been going on, and I can even cross-reference it with the last 10 games if it really worries me, like I think there's been a recent change. Lehkonen, Plekanec, and Gallagher, 22% of the time. Pacioretty, Byron, and Hudon are basically on the top line. Now, it looks like there was a flip-flop here, okay? But what you might do is you might run, Plekanec with Lehkonen and get 2 lines worth of coverage. Ideally, you'd like them both to be on the same power play. But see, the Gallagher, is okay, but the Gallagher-Pacioretty combination might not be what you're after if the Pacioretty line has not been producing. What has been producing is this one right here. So if I was game stacking, this would be the one. And what I like about it, it's lower owned because people are going to be looking at this page here and they're going to say, oh, well, I'll just stack this top line. They don't know that 25% of the time over the last 3 games, it's been Gallagher, Lehkonen, and Plekanec. That's what you need to know. That's what you need our coaching for. That's what you need. We do this on a daily basis. I'm doing this out in the public today because I'm trying to show you guys the tips and the strategies that you get inside DFS Army when you basically sign up for the coaching process, because that's what we do. We take people and better players. We teach them where to look and what to do. And this stuff's always changing and always coming forward. So, that might be where I start tonight. Instead of Matthews and then, there's Gallagher. Look how cheap these guys are. Lehkonen. See, I've already forgotten. Who am I missing? Lehkonen, Plekanec. It's going to be cheap. There he is. That's a dirt cheap line right there. And if now I'm not going to, if I do this, I'm certainly not running the Colorado goalie. But let's say I want to run, Felix Anderson. Now I'm 6,400 per player. Now I can probably get Austin Matthews in there. I can probably run, Gardner like I saw down here in the D. And the second D, to be honest with you, I already know where I'm going to go. I'll probably go right back into Montreal with Petry. Now here's the problem. Now I've got a line stacked, and I've got a defenseman running with it, and it's a 4 stack. And that's okay on a 3-game slate, but it's definitely leaning more towards tournaments because I'm going boom or bust with Montreal tonight. See what I'm doing? See what I'm trying to tell you? This is not a cash safe line. If this was a cash safe line, I might take, say, Plekanec's cheap, but let's say I take Plekanec out of there, and let's say if I'm running Petry, I'm going to run him maybe with a second guy, and let's say we run Lehkonen in there. Okay, now I've got 2 and 2, and if I want to spread out a little bit more, I can come over here. I don't necessarily want to run this, but I'm just showing you one of the ways that we can do this. If we plug in an Austin Matthews, and then we run right back out of that game. Let's say we go over here to Florida and we pick up Trocheck as our second center, and we run down here into the wings and run Brock Besser. That's going to really cheap us out on that 3rd spot, and I don't know if that's a good idea tonight. So what I might do is come out with Atkinson, and I might come back in, with a Dadonov, and then round it out with a $5,100 wing. Bjorkstam, Anderson, Barshy, Brickshed, Jenner, Lehkonen, Erickson, nothing. So there's the Florida 2. I can get 2 lines of coverage in Florida. Trocheck and Malgin are on that second line, and you've got it on. Let's double check that. Let's see if that makes some sense. Trocheck feels like he's chasing points, but the dude's pretty steady. When you go down to the 10th game, you count them up 1, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4 and 6. I'm writing it down. Look at all these shots. 6, 12, 20, 25, 31, 33. 33 and 10 is 43. 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 4, 6, and 50 over his last 10. 4, 6, and 50 over his last 10. Monstrous production. So when I run down here and I pick up Malgin, that may kick Dadonov out of the lineup. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 and 4 on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 17, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So the 26 may be getting close to the 30. It's a little bit light. But between Trocheck, remember what we did for Austin Matthews and Gardner, when we added those two up, and what we ended up with, what was 7, 10, and 66. You know how I did that? I wrote that down. And when I'm looking at these other two, I got 8 goals, 10 assists, 76 shots. If you took these two alone, these two combinations, and plugged them in, Trocheck, Mulligan, Matthews, Gardner, you can definitely afford that. Take out Beeser, take out Lehkonen, take out Dadonov. I'm talking, take out Petrie. I'm just talking about these 4 guys right here. For these 4 guys right here, you've got 7 and 8 is 15 goals, 16 and 10 is 26 assists, 66 and 76 is 142 shots and blocks. Let's add that one up. Where's my calculator? And then we'll call it a day, okay? Because I don't want to sit here and just bore the crap out of you. But that's 1.5 goals over the last 10 per game. Multiply that by 12, we're sitting on 18 points. 2.6 assists, 26. 2.6 assists per game. It's 20.8 points. And 142 is 14.2 shots and blocks. Multiply that by 1.6, and I am at 22.7 points on 4 players. I'm going to tell you right now, it's pretty stellar. That's a pretty high floor lineup. So that's basically what you're going to be doing today when you don't have the cheat sheets to look right in front of yourself. You're going to have to dive in, dig into these games, dig into these logs, find these players that are producing, find these players that are creating your shots and your block shot floor, and round them out there. Do the calculations, write the stuff down, and then start comparing what tier pricings are better than the others. What value players must I have? Don't be afraid to take a one-off against your goalie, but try to avoid it where you can. And if you end up stacking up a ton of guys because all of that value is in one lineup, like that top line of Montreal that's producing, then you're going to lean toward your GPPs, which is where you should be leaning on this slate anyway, because like we said, should be a lower scoring night. 1 or 2 goals might make all the difference in the world. You want to have those players, and if you do, you might drive yourself deep into a GPP. So anyway, this is Choppadong. Got you a little bit of a slate breakdown, a little bit of a process type of video for you to understand how we go about building these lineups, how we go about searching and finding these players. Hopefully that entices you to come inside and get more coaching, get deeper coaching inside DFSArmy.com. Use coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, for a 10% discount. Follow me on Twitter, like and subscribe to the video. And guys, we'll see you when we see you.